So the summer of 2003, I was a pretty happy person. I had what I thought was the only job I would ever want. I was living with the man who is now my husband, and I was doing all of this in New York City, my favorite place on the planet. And every Friday in the summer of 2003, our offices closed early, which is fairly common in New York City, because everyone escapes to the Hamptons. Except I was working at a nonprofit theater, so I couldn't afford to escape to the Hamptons. And instead, I escaped to New York City itself. The city really does clear out on summer weekends, and I lived 6 miles from my office. My office was at 311 West 43rd Street, where there is now a WeWork space, so I don't go back there much. And I lived in Brooklyn. And on Friday afternoons, I would put on a pair of sneakers and I would walk home from my office. And that would mean stopping for a drink with a friend, or stopping in a park to sit and read, or sometimes just taking a new route I had never taken before. And one of the things that I love the most about New York City is just the interaction and the energy you have on the street with other people, and sort of the wide variety of humanity that you see on any given block. And to this day, when I am able to get to New York City or any really major city, that's what I enjoy, just walking around. So for me, I loved it when New York City cleared out a little bit. There was a little bit more breathing room, but still that really tight energy. And I would just wander home. And it would take me, if I was going straight home, it would take me about 2 hours. And there's a lot of discourse on Twitter right now about never trusting a New Yorker to tell you something's walking distance. Like, I'm that New Yorker, right? I'm like, oh, it's a 2-hour walk, no problem. So this was the summer of 2003 for me, and it was amazing. And then one day, the lights went out. August of 2003, most of the northeastern seaboard into Canada and actually out to Michigan suffered a massive blackout. And actually, at the exact moment that it happened, I was on my phone with my now husband, who was at our place in Brooklyn, and my boss was on the phone with his wife, who was like 50 blocks north of us. So we couldn't have been further apart in New York City. And we both were like, well, my husband's lights just went off. My wife's lights just went, our lights, like, and it was very clear that something was very wrong very quickly to us. Now, keep in mind, this is the job that I had on September 11th of 2001. This was the job that had me in charge of 20-year-olds in New York City for the first time on September 11th of 2001. So, you know, people are calibrated to fight or flight. I have a super strong flight reflex. And I was like, I'm out of here. See you guys. And they're like, what? And I'm like, listen, as long as it's light out, I know I can get myself home. The minute it's not light anymore, I don't know what to do. And the general manager of our company was like, Jamie, I really think you could like hang out for an hour. This was at about 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. and just see if the lights come back on. And I was like, Gilbert, my husband in Brooklyn, David's wife in the Upper West Side, no one has power. Like, I'm not waiting for anything. Like, you want to fire me? Fire me. I'm going home. And then the assistant in my office was like racing after me in the stairwell. She was like, can you take me home? I don't know how to walk home from here. Why do you know how to walk home from here? What's going on? And I was like, just come. So Sharon and I walked 2 hours through Manhattan, across the Brooklyn Bridge, where we were greeted by people on the Brooklyn side just handing out water to people. I mean, it was the most amazing thing. We only almost got hit by a bus once, because keep in mind, the traffic lights weren't working and the buses were running, but the Metro cards, you know, you would stop and get on and they would stop and nothing was happening normally. But we managed to only almost get hit by a bus once. We made it to Brooklyn. I made it to my apartment and my boyfriend wasn't there. And it was like, but I was on the phone with him when this happened. Like, where would he be? And I started looking around, and it was very clear to me that all the drawers that might have had flashlights and matches were open. It was very clear to me that something had happened. It turns out he left the apartment, came to the Brooklyn Bridge hoping to catch me, but he didn't. We missed each other. When he got home that night, we were obviously fine. Our downstairs neighbors were fine. our gas ranges were working, but our refrigerators were failing. So we made a big pot of pasta. We got really stoned and we had an amazing night. So for me, I didn't need to escape to the Hamptons. I didn't even need to escape New York City, but I did need to escape that blackout.